Recording. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Just raise a hand, raise a finger, or say yes. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. So, we've got up to the bottom here of Hammer Bays, and this I went through this kind of quickly last time we learned. But I think we did well enough. No. Let's just go through it again quickly. Umara said, Shutfim can acquire from each other in the chutzer. In other words, each can use the chutzer in turn in order to make a kinyan from the world or from each other. And they can protest each person's using the chutzer if it's depriving them of their usage. In other words, they have to come to some agreement. And they're chayiv in each other's nizakin, right? Because they're supposed to be careful to know that somebody else, that the shutaf might come at any time. So now the Gemara says, "V'lochet Amar Rab Malik Kol Shusa Rabim." This is the beginning of Haminiach Bava Kama, that you're chayiv in the nezek of somebody else who's going. If you left an obstacle in Shusa Rabim, it's only you fill the entire Shusa Rabim with obstacles. In that case, it's talking about pottery, so he can't go around. He has to go through, and therefore you're chayiv in his nezek because you set it up in a way that he had to go through, and he had to get hurt by your pottery. I guess when he broke the pottery, it hurt him. So therefore, so therefore you're chayiv because he had no option but to go through your pottery. There was no way to go around. But here by a chotzer, why am I chayiv in the nezakin of my shutaf? Let him make sure not to go in a place where there's any danger. Just like, if I don't fill the entire just around with pottery, he can go around the pottery. So here too, he can go around the place that there's a danger. Why am I chayiv in his nezakin? So the zoo animal was just a rabbin, right? It's not filling. I didn't fill the entire chutzer there. So it's just rabbin. It's the chutzer, the same idea. I didn't fill the entire chutzer with obstacles. Let him go. Let him go somewhere there's no obstacle. Why am I chayiv in his nezakin? When it says since he could go, since shutaf has the right to go on the chutz, it's not like a shus rabbim where he's traveling through and that's it. The chutzer, he uses the entire chutzer. So therefore, in any way, any place in the chutzer is a place where he is entitled to use and entitled to go, and therefore, if it's as if I fill the entire chutzer full pottery. It's a fascinating parallel. First, the entire chutzer is a place where I, shutaf number one, have to make sure not to put a stumbling block for shutaf number two. I can't say, well, shouldn't have gone to this area, could have gone around, because since he has the right to use the entire chutzer, so therefore I have to make sure there are no obstacles anywhere in the chutzer. It's as if the entire chutzer is full of my obstacles if I put even one obstacle there. Because there's no such thing as going around. Just around me doesn't belong to me. I can go around the pots in the middle of the street, right? I'm just trying to travel anyway. But a chutzer, I can use the entire chutzer is mine. We're partners in the chutzer, so therefore you can't say to me, no, well you should have gone around. So the whole chutzer belongs to me. So if you put the pot of pots everywhere in the chutzer, okay, it's a fascinating parallel. Let's go on to the next mission. Ha'av golai de beno. A father goes into Golos if he kills his son, and vice versa. My day Israel, everybody goes through another Jew. Yisrael goes to them, and a Jew still goes to them. Except through except the Ger Toshav. Ger Toshav, if he kills Yisrael and B'shoigeg, he's killed. For Ger Toshav, take Ger Toshav. Ger Toshav can go to Golos for killing another Ger Toshav. Assuming a Golos, somebody who's blind doesn't go Golos to Rebbe. Who's there? Meir Omer Golos goes Golos. Assuming a Golos, somebody who hates somebody else is not Golos because We assume he's mazed. Rabbi said, Sonny Nerag. Not only is he mazed, he's mazed enough that we would kill him. They should come out because he's like a muad. There's a Sonny who goes and goes, and the Sonny who doesn't go and goes. How so? Anytime we assume, can be assumed that he killed deliberately, then Eino Golet, right? Because we assume that even though there's no Eidim Asro, we can't put him to death. But he's mazed, and mazed doesn't go into Golus, doesn't get the protection of the ear mikvat. And if it was clear that it was still a shoygate, then Hareza Golei does go into Golus. Amr Bezira, Tana Rav Shila Barbuna learns, Kapei Shenemar Go Adam Yamisa Sarotzeach. It says the Go Adam he should kill the Rotzeach. Who? Right? There's the extra word who. So it says Go Adam Yamisa Sarotzeach. Why does it say who Yamisa Sarotzeach? That word who is extra. So it's coming to teach you that it's a mute, an exclusion. Hare Misha Heika Beno. If somebody killed his son, ain't Beno Hasheni Nasa Gol Hadam Lamisa Saviv. The second son does not become a Gol Hadam to kill his father. In other words, Yaakov killed Ruvain, his son, unintentionally. So Shimon is the second son should not become Gol Hadam. Right? So he uses the word who to tell us, no, there are not some cases in which you don't become a Gol Hadam. What's that? If Yaakov kills Reuven, Shimon does not become a Gol Hadam. Aval, Achshi cause Achi. But that's only one mute, right? It's only one exclusion. But let's say Reuven killed Shimon. A brother killed another brother. Then the second brother does become a Gol Hadam to kill him. So the Tiny Elizabeth Yaakov Klape Shneimar Gol Hadam Yamisa Otzeach. Since it says Gol Hadam Yamisa Otzeach, Hare Mishi calls Beno, somebody who killed his son. Beno Hasheni Nasa Gol Hadam Lahamisa Savi. He says not differently. He says right? It says that he actually does become the Gol Hadam to kill his father. So he says the opposite, right? We did this last week. Actually, we did all this. I don't know why. So we were all the way back there. But anyway, let's go further. Once you start here, let's good. Chazor is always good. He does become a Gol Hadam, kills brother. And then we had a discussion here whether actually it's referring to a grandson, not a grandson. In any event, it basically seems like it's the opposite drasha, which he had on top. But they basically are they're basically each learning a mute, but one's learning the mute that the son doesn't become Gol Hadam on his father, and the brother does, and the other one's the other way around. That the brother does not become Gol Hadam on a brother, but the son does. Okay. And this we learned also last week. How do you know that even if you can't kill him face to face, right? He can kill him from behind his back. Any way that he can find him, any way he can kill him, he should kill him. Okay, if he has to kill him from the back, he kills him from the back. Says the Gemara further. Asuma, blind person. Amar Rabbi Ba Montana Suma. Who's the one who Montana Suma? Who's the one who said a Suma? That's the Suma is not a Goyle. Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda Portugal mitzvahs amus b'Torah. He exempts all mitzvahs in the Torah, including what seem golus. Some of you who never saw the sun and the moon shouldn't say be chazan for Yotzam Oris. And Rav Pores, once upon a time we did see who's Pores. Okay, but they both are the same person. So below Raos, it It says if you come and you kill somebody who's out seeing, or mayor Omer, Rabbi Omer, mayor Rabbis is assuming comes to include a blind person. He also goes and goes. The mayor Prat Lusuma, somebody it comes to exclude a suma. In other words, according to Rabbi Meir, it says below rose, even somebody who can't see goes and goes. According to Rabbi Yehuda, means somebody could have seen goes and goes, but this guy couldn't have seen doesn't go and goes. Mechabashi tested Rabbi Meir. So now this is where we're up to. This is where we got messed up last week. Stopped last week. Mechabashi tested Rabbi Meir. The Pnei Moshe changes this. He changes it. If you take a look here. Here, Mechabashi tested Rabbi Yehuda Garcia. Okay, V'chein Megillah Basha Mesik Lakusha. Now we're finishing up a question which we began, and we got kind of sidetracked. We began the question with Montana Suma. Okay, so now we're going back to that question. Okay, Tamanu Omer. I'm reading straight to Pnei Moshe. Tamanu Omer Prat. Masnisin might assume the Enagola the Pat Mikvah mitzvah. He says in our Mishnah, a Suma doesn't goes because he's Pat all mitzvahs, right? Because and that's in our Mishnah, even though it says Tamon. But very often Yerushalmi Tamon, which means there, means here, and Ha which means here, means there. Because Yerushalmi sometimes quotes itself from other sugyos where the there was there and the here was here, and then it goes when it quotes itself here, they get mixed up backwards. But anyway, we call Hacha Gabi Pori Shma by somebody who's wants to chazma Yotzei Omar L'Rabos. It says it includes. No, it's here. Blind person can be Porei Shma, as long as he once wasn't blind. So by the Roseach, Rabbi Yehuda says, even though he was once able to see, since he's blind now, he does go and goes. But here he says, the good koshlo ramros biyamav hudena Porei, like harav and istame Porei. But if he saw and then he became blind, he can be chazan. So the question is, we said before, why does Rabbi Yehuda say somebody who's summa doesn't go ghost? Because he's pat mikvah mitzvah. So if that's the case, how can he be chazan? Even if he saw once the moros when he still had his vision, now he's part for mitzvahs, and anybody's part of can't be motzi other people. Only if you're mechuyev in the mitzvah can be motzi somebody else in the mitzvah. Not if you're part from the mitzvah. So what's going on here, right? How can you be chazan? Right? Doesn't make any sense. So Amr Bechina Braid Rabbi Hillel. Just going back to more. Amr Bechina Braid Rabbi Hillel. B'Yoshev Vayisaf Eli Masnisa. Now, Enochanami. Rabbi Hillel, if he's absolutely blind, he can't be moti other people with Yotzei Mos. Because it's part of the mitzvahs. We're talking about here a guy who was sitting in a dark house. He never saw the sun and the moon. Means he never was outside. He lived his whole life in a cave. So he can't be, he's mechuyev in mitzvahs, but he never saw the sun and the moon. So he shouldn't be the chazan because he can't talk about Yotzei Mos. He never saw the sun and the moon. So therefore, if he's his entire life, he was living in a dark house, he can't be chazan for Yotzei Mos. But if once upon a time, before they put him in this prison, he could see the sun and the moon, then he can be the chazan for Yotzei Mos, right? So here that we say, this is what we say. Yoshe Baisa fell late for Sishma. Somebody who's in a dark house, he shouldn't be the shliach for the shliach tzibur for Yotzei Mos. From Hacha below Os Prat L'Suma. Okay, so but it's here. I'm sorry. So wait a minute. Okay, fine. So that's the case. We don't know quite why do we need the below rose. Below rose teaches if we really know that according to Rabbi Yehuda, the reason why Suma shouldn't go into Gauss is because it's Patachol Mitzvah Shabbat Torah. And the fellow who can be Motzi, the Shnei Tzibur issue was, of course, about somebody who's not a Suma, but he was living in a dark house in a prison or whatever. So why do we just say above? You don't need that, according to Rabbi Yehuda. You don't need to exempt the Suma from Golus because of below Ra'os. He's part of Chol Mitzvah Sibba Torah. So of course he doesn't go loose, right? So that is, so we have to say, so what some other drasha, what is Rabbi Yehuda dashing here? So the Gemara says, Ma mekaimin Rabbanon below Os. So what does Rabbanon here means Rabbi Yehuda? So what does he do below Os? He doesn't mean Lamaitis, not like we said before. We reject that. Because of course he's blind anyway. He doesn't go and goes. But it means it means that somebody who in the dark of night kills by accident because he couldn't see, he still goes into both. Which don't think that he's potter because he's like a blind man because he can't see because it's nighttime. No, he means that only somebody who's actually blind is what they call mitzvahs. He doesn't go into golus, but somebody who just couldn't see because it's nighttime, he also goes into golus. And so though we said before below rose review says prat l'suma, no, we reject that. We say because we know suma's potter anyway because he's blind. We say below os it comes to mean that somebody who kills somebody else at night accidentally, it also goes in the golus. So now the machlokas going back here would be Rabbi would say l'rabos es hamaka b'layla. The mayor would say Rose comes to tell us that even a blind person goes in the golus and kavachomer, somebody who kills somebody else at night. Rabbi says no, a blind person doesn't go because it's part of the mitzvahs. Somebody that can't see because it's nighttime, he will go to golus. Okay, leichon golin. So where are they going to go? Lori Miklat. The three they were trying. Once the east side of Jordan, the three that were in Eretz Canaan, and the west side of Jordan. Then my Shoshan Tinuma every other day. Give three cities here. It said Gomer. Actually, Nivku Shoshan Eretz Yisrael. Before the three in Eretz Yisrael were chosen, Lo Ayu Shoshan every other in Kokos. The ones on the other side of Jordan River were not in effect either. Shema Sheshem Miklat Tiena. That we six simultaneously. Shloshtam Kotos Kachas. Says there are three of them, but it really means the six of them. In other words, the three on one side, three on the other side. And there are roads which go from Ir Miklat to Ir Miklat. Shema says Tachinucha Derech, prepare the road, and cut into thirds. Threes really means cut into quarters. But in any event, in other words, it should be equal distance. It is thirds. Cut into thirds. The Gularts is equal to the Aramikot are equidistant from the from each other and from the borders of Eretz Yisrael. The guy is fleeing to the Ir Mikvah. You can hear two Talmidei Chachamim. Shema Yargenu B'derech. Lest the Goel Adam come and try and kill him on the road. He's that Brei love, so they speak to him and tell him not to. He can also commit Goel Adam himself. He doesn't need to necessarily to Talmidei Chachamim. He can try and commit Goel Adam to not kill him himself. By the way, if the Goel Adam does kill him on the way there, because it turns out that he wasn't Chai Misa, the Goel Adam will be put to death. So it's not Goel Adam's best interest to kill the guy on the way to the Yer Mikvah. You should wait to see what the judgment's going to be. Rabbi Yosef Domer says initially echad shogi v'echad mezid, whether the killing was deliberate, accidental or deliberate. Magdim or Mikvah, they both go to Mikvah. Based in Shochem Mavim Mosam Misham, and the base in the city where the crime took place, then bring them back. Mishis Chaim Misa or go. Whoever turns out he could kill deliberately is put to death. Mishul L'Shalom Chaim Misa, the ones who not Chaim Misa, they don't get put to death. But true, the ones who turn out to be innocent. Chaim goes, ones who killed, determined to kill them accidentally. Magazino so Makoma, they bring him back. Yeah, Danny what? Daniel? Got your hand up?
He only can't He only can't kill the Rotzeach.
Can't hear you. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, he's something on my end. Can't hear.
He only can't kill the Rotzeach on the road
Um,
because he might be killed if you hold that Hasral Tanai is good Hasra. I think there was Machlokas about that. About if conditional.
trying to say something?
Could you hear me?
I still can't hear you. I wonder why not. In here.
Could you hear me?
Try putting in chat what you're saying because I can't. For some reason I can't hear. Maybe it's something wrong with the audio setting here. Yeah, that's a mistake. Okay, try again. Do you want to say?
Now?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
The Gohatem can only be killed for killing the Rotzeach if Hasral Tanai is good Hasra.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's why it was good to have the 2 Talmidei Chachamim. It's good the 2 Talmidei Chachamim should give him Hasra, and then he would be killed. You're right. Yes, good point. Okay. So in any event, they put him. Shisrav goes to him. Come out. They go back to your mikla shemar. Yeshiva so edel in mikla. So they put him back to your mikla. Echo Mashal b'shem mishcha. The Kohen Gadol. When the Kohen Gadol dies, he can come out. That line is missing here, but we know that's what it's referring to. And it doesn't matter. Kohen Gadol was anointed with the oil, which was happened during the first base Hamikdash period, or he only had the 8 garments, which is how the Kohen Gadol got chosen in the second base Hamikdash, designated second base Hamikdash period. Whenever he dies, or even a Kohen Gadol who's retired. And there's another Kohen Gadol serving. Even when when any of them die, the serving Kohen Gadol or the retired Kohen Gadol, when they die, the Rotzeach can leave their mikvah. Even the Kohen who used to go out to war with the armies, when he dies, Master is Rotzeach. That's where the mothers of the Kohanim Gedolim give food and clothing to the killers. They shouldn't daven that the children should die. If they conclude the judgment on the killer and the Kohen Gadol dies, I raise in a Gola. It doesn't go to Golas because the Kohen Gadol already died. If, however, the Kohen Gadol died before they paskined on him, that he was a Rutzach B'Shogeg, then they appointed another Kohen. Then his judgment was completed. He goes back with the death of the second Kohen Gadol. If when his judgment was completed, there was no Kohen Gadol. So, or Hahore Kohen Gadol, somebody kills the Kohen Gadol himself, or the Kohen Gadol himself kills. They never leave the mikvah because they don't have a Kohen Gadol who's going to be the one whose death would let them go free. They don't leave the city to testify even for the purpose of a mitzvah, like for Kiddush HaChodesh. They're testify if somebody owes anybody else money. Nor to testify if somebody should be put to death. Even the Jews need him. Even if he's a general, like Yob Ben Tzvi is necessary for the Jews to win a war. And he never leaves. It says, Shama, there. Shamte Dirasa, there he's got to live. Shamte Misasa, there he's got to die. Shamte Krosa, and there he's got to be buried. Shem She'ir Kolet, just like the city is in the Mikla Kach Tchuma, so too it's 2,000 amas around it. Kolet also is home safe for the Rotzeach. Rotzeach left that 2,000 amas around the city. Mitzvah Gol Adam, and the Gol Adam finds him. Yes, remember, mitzvah Yad Gol Adam. It's a mitzvah in the hands for Gol Adam to kill him. It's supposed to be Yad Gol Adam, but anybody can kill him and get and be part. Kiva Omer was just Yad Gol Adam. It's not a mitzvah Gol Adam to kill him. Optional. It's not a mitzvah for him to do. Gol Adam ain't chayv alav. Anybody else, they should not kill him. But if they do kill him, they're going to put to death. because he's already a walking dead man to a certain extent. Therefore, if anybody else kills him, they're not liable to the death penalty. They did something wrong, but they don't get put to death. If there's a tree, the trunk is within the 2,000 amos of the city. The nofa and the foliage of the tree is outside 2,000 amos. Or the tree is outside the 2,000 amos. The nova and the foliage is in the 2,000 amos. Everything goes after the foliage. Wherever foliage is, that's where the tree is going to be. So if the foliage is in 2,000 amos, then you can be by the trunk and be home safe. Harbos a year. What if the Rotzeh killed again in the Yermikla? Golim Shchun Shchun. Goes from neighbor to neighbor. Ben Levi, Ben Levi who lives in the Yermikla, kills Golim Earlier. Goes from city to city. It's Rotzeh should go to Yermikla. Similarly, a Rotzeh, like we say before, he shouldn't leave any reason. So Rotzeach, who went to an Ir Mikla, and he was a very distinguished person. Ratu Anshe Ir Lechabdo. And the people say they wanted to honor him because he was a distinguished person. Yom Rotzeachani. You should say to them, listen, you can't honor me. I'm a Rotzeach. I'm a killer. So Amalava became. They said, nevertheless, we want to honor you. You should accept it for them. All he has to do is tell him he's Rotzeach. Once he told him he's Rotzeach, he's allowed to accept whatever honor they want to give. Okay. Sholosh says Gemara. Sholosh ayoros hifrish Moshe be'ever Yarden. The 3 cities in the east side of the Jordan River were set aside by Moshe Rabbeinu. He's the one who designated them. When they got there are another 3 designated. Neither of them were effective. Actually, keeps you until they conquered all of Israel and divided all of Israel, which took 14 years. Once they conquered and divided, not only did Ori Mikla become effective, but they started. That's when the Shemitah and Yovel started being counted from year 15. And the Ori Mikla became operative on both sides of the Yarden. Shoshim Shefish Beretz Yisrael, 3 cities they says on it. So Muhammad connected Sholosh Orim Shebi Fish Moshe Be'ever Yarden. The parallel to the 3 cities that were in that Moshe set up on the other side of the Jordan River. You stay Shua Shakerb, like 2 rows in a vineyard, which are opposite each other. Eschem Yehuda connected Betzer Bamidbar. Eschem Ephraim connected Ramos Bagilon. Eschem Begalil connected Gola Babashon. Those were the parallels. Ad Shalui Fishu Shchem Bahar Ephraim Loiso Coletes until they set aside Shchem, it wasn't Colet. In other words, it wasn't effective. Which is a bit it's a bit off because obviously they had to separate all 6. But what it means that none of them were effective, so they needed to set aside have a temporary Ir Mikla, which was going to work until the others were effective. So Frishu Kiryas Yorim Tachtea, actually keeps Shchem. So Kiryas Yorim was a temporary Ir Mikla. Actually, Frishu Kash B'Galil Loya Gosa Kolates. Again, the one in the Galil did not become operative yet. So Yifrishu Gamla Tachtea actually keeps Kodesh. Before they were able to conquer Kodesh, they set aside Gamla. Okay, so in other words, even though they weren't able to set aside, use the ones they're supposed to use because they weren't yet conquered and consecrated, they obviously set up places for Rotzeach to go if he killed the Shogun. Okay, we're about to lose our time, so we'll stop here. I hope that in 2 times we'll be able to finish the Sechta, since there's only 1 blot left in the Yerushalmi. Okay, have a good week.
Okay, thanks for teaching us.